back in the same day. So today we're going to be covering why it is so important to not use baby animals as practice for human babies. And this is mainly his idea to do because he actually ran into someone that wanted to do this while he was volunteering at the Humane Society. So my name is Aquaria Doyle. My purpose here on YouTube is to create animal-related educational videos so that way me and my team, including him, can open our very own animal rescue center so that way we can be on this animal-loving journey together. So if you're interested in that, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so that way you are notified every single time we upload a video. He's acting so weird.
I'm Smiles and I'm the husband.
So be sure to look in the description of every single video. Obviously today is going to be opinion only. We do not have any research for this video. I could not find absolutely anything online supporting this opinion. So this is basically just him stating what he has experienced. So just keep that in mind throughout the entire video. It is opinion and experience related only. There is no research to back it up. So yeah, obviously his name is really Andrew, but he likes to call himself Smiles because he is nothing but smiles all the time. And that is Figaro, but we like to call him Pillow because that was his original name and we're not doing a very good job of calling him Figaro. So
Yes.
yeah.
He's not even white anymore. This right here might act like a baby. He's not a human baby. As much as he acts like it.
Okay.
This.
So this is literally gonna be all you.
This is a fluffy kitty cat.
That bites a lot.
You are a meanie head.
Can I have him? Hi,
He
Pillow.
might bite your titties.
Excuse you. Come here, Pillow.
Does that look like a human child to you?
I'm gonna just let you rant the entire video. There you go. A whole video dedicated to what you wanted to cover so badly.
No bullet points, no nothing, just...
No, I literally couldn't have any research and I didn't know what else to put, so this is literally just you and your experience.
Oh my god. So, I guess we were just right. In the adoption, as a volunteer as the adoption center, you run into quite a few different types of people. And one of them you'll definitely run into if you are unlucky enough is the young couple who wants a child but has no idea how to raise a child. So they go in and they adopt an animal such as a kitten or a puppy. And then they raise it, they get used to that animal, they have the child, and after they have the child, they bring the animal back to the Humane Society and give it back to the Humane Society, and they say it's no longer working, or they give them an excuse, and most of the time it's a lie. And then a couple years later, when the child's a little bit more grown up, they get another animal. Not to prepare, but now this time they actually want an animal. And they could have had the animal the whole time, but they decided to turn them in after they had the child. So keep that in mind. They'll usually have an animal for a year or two, wait for it to become what they think is full grown, get out of the puppy years. If it's a puppy, finish the potty training and whatever else it needs, and then return them back to the Humane Society. I've even seen people release them into the wild. They domesticate a dog into the wild and have it fend for itself. I like to call these people the scum of the earth, but that's my opinion. So one of the classes you would take in the Humane, and I'll just use the Arizona Humane Society because we had to redo the classes recently, is to ask questions, and this is why they don't want someone using an animal for something it's not supposed to be. I mean, we don't have children, and we only have 3 fluffy kitties. No no human children around. But I can tell you, they're not the same. You're not going to clean your child's poop out of a litter box. You're not going to be feeding them in bowls. You're not going to be taking them to a vet. You're going to be taking a human child to a doctor and cleaning a diaper. So you're going to be breastfeeding or bottle feeding. You're not going to be bottle feeding a puppy or unless you buy an actual newborn. But if you go to the Humane Society, they don't sell you newborns. They gotta be a specific age, and the age kind of varies, so you just don't do these types of things that you would normally do. I don't see how it can translate, but then again, we don't have children. I think it's cruel to the animal, because then you're trying to treat it like a human. What are you doing, cat? Are you snoring? He's snoring. You try to treat it like a human child, and quite frankly, it's not. I mean, to potty train a cat, you put him in the litter box a couple times the first day, and well, he's potty trained. Show him where his food is. You drop him in front of his food and water a couple times throughout the day. Now he knows where his food is. I don't think it's that easy to potty train a dog or even a child. I mean, I was the youngest, so I don't know. I've never had dogs either, so.
We have a friend that has a child, or a baby, and I was given a task to babysit the child for about like 2 hours, and it was probably the most miserable time I've ever had with the child, and I'm not gonna lie, because it wasn't very good. This child is very attached to her mom, and she was screaming, crying the entire time, and I know for a fact cats are not like that.
So Tigger used to go to sleep on our faces. Like, he would curl up on a ball and literally sleep on our faces. I don't think a human child would be curling up in a ball and sleeping on your face. I mean, you could make the argument, well, it's a baby, so you're getting used to having a baby. A cat's not going to be screaming at 3 in the morning getting you up because it needs to burp, or it pooped in its sleep, or it's hungry. A cat's just, or even a puppy is just not going to do that. A puppy, if it's not potty trained, is just going to go to the bathroom in your house. A cat's going to go find the litter box. They're just going to go find their food. And you don't put kittens and puppies in a kennel like you do a human child. So,
I guess that's kind of true.
I mean, you don't put kittens in the baby's bouncy toys that where they can bounce up and down. You just don't do the basic things you do. You're not going to do with a pet.
Babies are a lot more work.
No.
Well, they are. Kittens, like you said, are not hard to help. Babies, from the newborn stage to when they're like able to crawl or walk, they take a lot of time, and it's nothing compared to an actual baby animal. Of course, it's going to take time with a baby animal, but not as much time as a human baby.
Okay, so I personally have only ever had cats, and at the Humane Society we don't worry about training the puppies. So have you ever trained a puppy, and how does that differ from having your little sisters?
When we usually got puppies, me and my family got puppies, how you train them to go outside with a doggy door, you just push them through the doggy door and you call them back inside, and then keep on doing it until they learn that is the way outside, so that way that I can go outside and go poop and pee and stuff. And then we show them the food and water, and you literally, just with the cats, you show them where it is a bunch of times throughout the day, and that is where they learn. That is where they eat and drink some water. And everything else they'll do on their own. Babies, like my baby sisters, when I was about 12, when my sister was about no, that's not right. I was about 10 when my sister was a newborn. And she would be coughing in the middle of the night at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd think she'd be dying. And I would jump out of bed in the middle of my sleep, like hardcore sleeping, because she'd be right next door. I'd jump out of bed to make sure she wasn't dying or choking on her own spit or something. And I would always beat my mom to my baby sister's room. Dogs are not like that. Puppies are not like that at all. And with his experience with kittens and mine with Tigger and the fosters we've had, that's not a thing. If our foster is in here and they're screaming, or like not screaming, they're crying because they want out and they want to socialize with you, that's nothing compared to a human baby that is screaming, crying, and giving you migraines in the middle of the night.
So, like, well, and by the time you adopt an animal, they can typically walk. You're not having to carry them for 8-9 months. I don't know when a baby starts crawling. Does that seem about right?
No, well, it depends on the baby because health problems could be a factor. So many different things.
I didn't start crawling until I was like 4, but I have a disease that made it really difficult. So like, my parents had to carry me around until I was 4 years old, and when we found out I had this disease, like I wasn't able to bend my knees all the way for like the first 10 years of my life. I wasn't able to fully bend my knees. So for the first 4 years I couldn't crawl because I didn't have the strength to fully extend and crawl and everything. I wasn't able to do that. So 4 years of their life they had to carry me around. Taylor was walking in 8 weeks when we adopted him. So I'm not having to carry him around and bottle feed him and feed him and stuff. I'm just not having to do that.
So whoever is thinking that a baby animal is so like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be the same and we can get prepared and everything for a human baby, that's just not true.
So I'm going to make this point. There's a difference between adopting a baby animal before you have a child because you want the animal versus adopting the baby animal because you want to prepare for the baby. Okay, if you actually adopt the animal because you want the animal, you're going to keep it till that animal eventually passes away. If you're getting it to prepare for a baby, once you have that baby, you're going to get rid of the animal. 9 times out of 10, that's the truth.
Because you got what you wanted out of it, and now you're done with it because all you have to do is focus on the actual baby that you wanted in the first place.
So the Arizona Humane Society has a policy they'll take back any animal you've adopted from them, as long as you give them what they consider a valid reason, and that valid reason is typically he's no longer working for us or we've became allergic to him, which owners can actually become allergic to their own pets. So I'm actually allergic to cats, all things considered. But I'm not severely allergic, so that would be a valid reason to go to the Humane Society and give them back all the cats. Like, oh, I'm allergic to them, and then like, oh, let's have a baby. To them, that'd be a valid reason. And I would have people come in and be like, I want the youngest animal because I want to train to have a baby. And I'm like, I'm not gonna adopt a baby. I'm not gonna adopt a kitten or a puppy onto you because in a year or two, that animal's gonna be back down to us. Now it's gonna find a new owner. I've seen them bring back a 3-year-old dog with the baby, and then it's the same day they adopt another puppy. I mean, how messed up is that? You spent 3 years grooming this puppy to love you, and then all of a sudden you just bring him back to the Humane Society and you're adopting another puppy? What type of message is that going to give to this dog?
That no owner loves you and they just want to give you away. Ooh, the sun. They're messing with the blinds.
I mean, dogs aren't stupid animals. They hold on to stuff
for longer than you think. until they're no longer able to remember who you are.
So my parents have a cat that I say he's 20, but he's probably only right around 18, 19, to be honest. Human years old, so what is that, 100 years in cats? I mean, he's starting to gray. He's actually growing gray hairs now. It's pretty funny. And I won't go over to my parents' house for a long distance time, and you'll probably think, well, this old senile cat won't recognize me or won't remember who I am. And as soon as I go in, if he's an indoor-outdoor cat too, so if he's indoors and he sees me, he comes running to me. I mean, and he's jumping on me and wanting me to give him attention because he's missed me. For a cat who's losing his marbles, it's pretty impressive. And that cat's, like I said, 18, 19, like literally starting to gray. Lost his tail, is pulling out his own fur now, and seems like he forgets stuff every single day, but he doesn't forget me, who has been in his life a majority of his time. So imagine what that does to a younger, sprier and animal. They're gonna remember that for a very, very, very long time.
Cats and dogs are very different when it comes to that, because
and even with dogs, different breeds are way different. Like Cocker Spaniels has a memory term of 4 years, I think it is. Husky might be 8 years. Pit bulls are, because they only lives, or is it pit bulls? Boxers. Boxers only, their lifespans is only 8 years before they actually tend to get cancer. Their memory span is 8 years. So different, even the dogs with different breeds, it tends to vary, and age doesn't help either.
Yeah, when I adopted my puppy when I was about like maybe 8 or 9,
which was a Cocker Spaniel,
right? I was in her life for the majority of her puppy years, and then when I turned 11, I was no longer allowed to see that side of the family, so that puppy was able to belong to that family, and even though that puppy was technically my puppy. After it was when I was 11 when I wasn't allowed to see that side of the family anymore, including that dog, and then I finally saw them when I was about 18 or 19.
I think you're 19.
It was either one of those. I think it was 18. And that's a long time past. That's more than 4 years. And when I first saw her after all of that time, because all of that time I spent without that dog, I was crying every freaking day. And I finally saw her, and she growled and hated me when I first saw her again, which meant she completely forgot who I was.
She was also dying. She had valley fever.
Yeah, that's what that's for. That's my only tattoo, but that's my dog. But yeah, she eventually had to be put down. But it shows that dogs have a memory for however long until they don't. But the fact is they have a memory for that time being, and they're suffering because that dog was suffering without me, because I was literally that dog's best friend, and I was coming over every single weekend to see that dog, and then all of a sudden I wasn't.
And there's also people who say, well, it's a stupid dog, it doesn't feel emotions. I've seen it firsthand. Cats and dogs actually be depressed.
Cry.
Show all the symptoms of depression.
We've seen Tigger cry before. We brought him on a camping trip, and it was probably the worst time of my freaking life, because I thought we lost him 20 different times, even though he was hiding the majority of the time.
Yeah, worst experience.
And he actually started crying when we first, when we fully arrived to the camping spot, and he was crying because
he was so stressed out that he thought we were going to We could have been thinking different things, but typically with animals it's fight or flight, so we probably thought we were going to kill him. So he was crying because he was stressed out, like how could my owners do something like this to me? Like not just like, no, actual tears running down his face.
And his heart rate was always through the roof whenever we were with him. We would never do that again.
I mean, this was supposed to be like a 5-day camping trip. We cut it down to like 1.5 and left.
Yeah, we slept for one night, and after like the full day of doing whatever we wanted to do. It wasn't
a full day. We ended up cutting that short too. We woke up at like 5 in the morning, and we were heading back home at 12. I think we hit the road at 1. And it was supposed to be a 5-day weekend. We got up there like 6. I probably weren't even up there a full day, to be honest.
I felt so guilty. There was one point I couldn't find him throughout the entire trailer, and I started breaking down crying because I thought I lost him, and he ran outside, and some like wolf killed him, and he was gone.
Where we went camping, there was mountain lions, wolves, coyotes.
I think that was the first time you've ever seen me break down crying for like real, not just depression related. It was like I thought I lost my little baby.
He was up there snoozing. So no, one of my cats I had growing up, his name was Tiger. We can explain that story later. His name was Tiger, and we adopted him with another cat named Oreo. And Oreo was a huge cat. He wasn't fat. He was just huge. I mean, his paw would sit in the palm of my hand. You would stretch him out, and he'd put my chin here, and his toes, his feet would be on my feet, and I'd be able to carry him, and we would be walking and everything. I mean, this was a huge cat, and when we adopted him, he was like this big. He was the grunt, and became the cat weighed like 35 pounds. He was ginormous. But anyway, he passed away before Tiger did, and the last 3 years of Tiger's life, he did gained weight. I mean, he went from a healthy 12 to 13 pounds to an unhealthy 27, and we used to let them go in they were indoor-outdoor cats. They were constantly coming in and out of the house. He didn't go outside of the house anymore. He didn't want like any treats or wet food. He literally laid on the couch till the day he died with his head down, being depressed because he had lost his best friend that he had known since birth. I mean, they were literally put in the same kennel. They were the only two in the kennel when we had adopted them, and they had been in there since they were 5 weeks, and we adopted them at 7. So they'd been in there for 3 weeks together. We adopted them. They had lived together for. Oreo died at 7, which, come to find out, for how big he was they should have only lived 5. So we got an extra 2 years out of that. And so he had a heart attack. Terry lived till he was 9. He died of cancer. Depression, of course, helped that along. But the last 2 years, he only walks to go to the bathroom and to get food, and that was it. And if he saw him walking anywhere he was sniffing the ground, vigorously looking for Oreo till the day he died. He actually died in the same. He had passed away in the same spot that Oreo had passed away, in the house, all things, which was very, very sad. But so don't just think, oh, they're stupid animals. They don't feel emotions. No, they feel the exact same emotions that we do. They just display it differently than we do. So.
That's pretty much it. We won't get too much into it. We still have a podcast to film.
I'm gonna get into a happy mood real quick. So I'll move the camera. So the reason we named Tigger, what we named him, is because he has the exact same markings as Tiger did. Exact same like personality is Tiger, but he's just a lighter gray. So where Tiger, was a
I don't know what happened.
Where Tiger was black with gray stripes, Tigger is gray with dark gray stripes. So we just thought it'd be, oh, Tiger, Tigger. It kind of seems the lighter version, and it kind of matches because he likes to jump around.
Yeah, he does. Like really high. So let's end the video. So my name is Aquari Doyle.
I'm Smiles. I'm the husband.
Our purpose here on YouTube is to create animal-related educational videos so that way later on, me and our team can open our very own animal rescue center so that way we can enjoy this animal-loving journey. So if you're interested in following along, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so that way you are notified every single time we post a video on our channel. Be sure to look in the description so that way you can donate to the links down below. We don't have any research for this video, it's just opinion only. And also be sure to look at the Humane Society of the USA in the description so that way you can see if there's any events going on near you or if there's any virtual events going on online if you're not comfortable going on around in public just yet. He's really distracting me right now.
I'm trying to. And this is how we're going to the video. We're going to face plant into a cat. You guys got stopped.